Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me this morning is Vasyl Shabchenko, former Transportation Minister of Ukraine. Vasyl, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, for invitation. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Absolutely. Well, a lot is going on right now in Ukraine, especially with Putin stepping his attacks and injuring a lot and killing a lot of civilians. Please educate us as to what's going on right now at this moment.
Now, just after his so-called demonstration, military parade, he was upset and decided to attack because he have to address to United States president, to address to Ukraine's president to allow them to have this parade, and it was shame for him, and he decided to retaliate blow to Ukraine, and he decided to launch biggest number of drones and missiles. A few days ago, he launched more than 1,500 drones and dozens different type of missiles. They were trying to bomb Ukraine during 30 hours. And thanks to Ukrainian air forces and air defense forces, forces hasn't managed to intercept 95% of drones, long-range drones, and 73% missiles, because it's quite difficult to intercept ballistic missiles. We have the only instruments, and the world has the only instruments. It's PAC-3 missile for Patriot. The only way to intercept it, and we lack it, and we cannot intercept most about 25%. And as a result, they were shelling Kyiv and eastern regions, which are bordering with Ukraine, just for preventing Ukraine to open flights to Ukraine, just to prevent Ukrainians to travel abroad, to travel back from Ukraine, and to demonstrate our neighboring countries that they are powerful. But as a result, this attack we receive. They managed to hit residential area in the Kyiv, and we in one skyscraper there was killed 21 person, and dozens were wounded, because they are fighting with civilians. They prefer to fight civilians because they can do nothing with military forces. Military forces of Ukraine are slowly taking control about battle line, and now many Russians so-called experts have confirmed that Ukraine is dominating in the sky at the battlefield. And they are trying to send different small groups to saturate Ukraine's territory, them to attack Ukraine's fortification. But it doesn't work, because battle line has dozen kilometers. Because, for example, Ukraine's forces has many drones, different type of drones, and this sphere is developing thanks to our partners and thanks to United States and our neighboring NATO bloc countries for help with spare parts, with providing different technologies for this sphere. And Ukraine's drones are turning into serious threat for Russia. And them they are testing the same technology. For example, they are using so-called mesh technology, which would allow them to launch drones in the depths of Ukraine using mesh technologies from station, or creating these fields, launching drones which are broadcasting the signal and allow them to hit more precisely than before. And all these moments are dangerous because they are attacking critical infrastructure of Ukraine. You know that Ukraine has biggest railway net in Europe. Ukraine has narrow rail and railway, and Ukraine is using for transporting military vehicles railway transport, and railway transport is capable to transport, for example, one brigade using 10 train can transport during from 12 to 20 hours one brigade from one place to another place, and easier and it's faster than, for example, any country can do it. And then they know it, and they are targeting so-called key stations. And hitting, if it's possible, they are hitting locomotives, because locomotives are expensive. It has huge prices, up to 100 millions. I mean, new, and they are trying to prevent. But now we can see that. Exports from Ukraine is going down, and the railway company needs support, and the level of support is growing because number of goods is going down, because it's our export metal and ore, or enrich or was transporting from eastern part of Ukraine, and they are trying to hit it. So,
sorry for crossing you. One thing I want to ask, because it was clearly mentioned that Iran was supplying Russia with a lot of drones. Most recently, we would have heard that President Trump stated that they had obliterated most of Iran's military storages, storage facilities, and so forth. And I'm wondering, where is Russia still acquiring so much drones from that they can launch thousands of drones on Ukraine and causing so much harm, like the apartment building that would have just got bombed and killing over 24 people, I think it is. Where do you think he is getting these drones from somewhere else besides Iran?
No, I'd say that it's a whole industry which is formed, for example, in cooperation between Iran, because from the very beginning it was Iranian technology which allows them to resist more powerful country which were using more expensive and more sophisticated type of weapon, and they performed and started producing this type of drones, but their industry was limited, and then they started from the start of war. Russia understood that their technology doesn't allow to hit Ukraine in the whole, and they immediately started this cooperation, and they built new plants. They from the very beginning were equipping it different spare parts from around the globe, and now main suppliers this spare parts is China. The electronical devices and electronical spare parts are being provided from China. Russia is forming the missile, this drones body, anybody. Engineers from Iran were teaching Russian soldiers how to launch it and how to work. And now we can see that they can not only use against Ukraine, but they can send it back to Iran. And because they are bordering through Caspian Sea, and it's easy to transport to Iran. They are transporting through small Caspian Sea and can use it at the territory. And spare parts and different elements for these drones are mostly providing from China, or as a result of Ukraine's specialist military experts' investigations, there are elements from more than 100 countries, from different countries, because Russia is using mediators. They were working, for example, before they were working with the Middle East countries, which were mediators for transporting military goods, or goods can be used not only in the military but in civilian industry. They were transporting through Arab countries who are undershelling now from Iran. And we can see that they are launching big number these drones just for terrorizing civilians, just because it's war without limits, to demonstrate that they are crazy, that they have no limits, that they can kill anybody, and that they have no limits to suspend it. And because of it, Ukraine's officials have commented many times that it's awful that world leaders are trying to communicate with Russia, who's under criminal investigation for kidnapping Ukrainian children, according to the International Court. And you know that a few days ago, European Union's countries have approved launching investigations concerning Russia's leaders, tribunal, which will, I hope, and we hope, will attract them to responsibility for their crimes they have done at the Ukraine's territory. And in this case, it seems to me Russians are trying to use current situation with the fuel, with the natural gas for transporting from Middle East countries, and are trying to make money for providing war machine. But nevertheless, Ukraine's forces have managed many times to hit their refinery, and you know that their transport route, which were transporting more than 60% of crude oil from Russia Federation, it's Black Sea and Baltic Sea. And now Ukraine forces doesn't allow them to transport from Black Sea, and many terminals have been destroyed. For example, in one case in the Sochi city, for example, citizens had rain from the oil, and they didn't want to stop Russia's crazy leader, but they have to have rain from the oil. And one day ago, Ukraine forces eliminated Ryazan, one from the biggest refinery, Russia Federation, and now they lack of fuel. Not only for providing world market, they cannot have it for consumption inside of Russia Federation. And then you know that before it was serious hit. Ukraine's forces managed to destroy northern route close to St. Petersburg terminal, and there was fully destroyed this terminal, and their opportunities to transport, to export oil is limited, and the only way they are trying, they are having trade operations with China, and we can see that India is involved in this trading relation, but they are having oil from the Far East ports.
Yeah.
But sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I want to ask you this question also. So Russia is also targeting UN humanitarian convoys. When we look at it in reality, Putin had broke every international law. He had charged on war crimes. He is destroying all humanitarian efforts going to Ukraine and so forth. Can the European nations recognize at this juncture that Putin has no intention of stopping this war? He will go to all lengths and all breadths to get what he wants. Are the European nations collectively going to stay back and wait till he decides when this war is going to over, or you think they're going to put together a strategic plan? Everyone go in this war because it's not just Ukraine. This war is against the whole European allies and forces. Can they just come together and make that special effort and take Russia out? Because Russia, they're not doing that well, military speaking. So I think the ball is now in the European nations' hand to serve it to Russia. I think that may be a good idea, but hey, I don't know.
Yeah, first of all, I'd say that European Union's opinion is changing slowly, because European Union, it's 27 different countries which are united policy, but many from these countries were involved in cooperation with Russia. First of all, it was Hungary, it was Slovakia, now it's Serbia, which is not a European Union member but is going to be, and all these countries have had extra profit. And for example, Hungary has root oil from the pipeline which is built through Ukraine, and Ukraine have to provide this transporting, because Hungary was the only country which was blocking support from European Union for Ukraine for 90 billion, for 45 billion euro for every year, and 60% from this money will be allocated for military sphere inside European Union, and partly at the Ukrainians military facilities inside Ukraine, and they will, and only it seems to me 17 billion every year we will have support for budgeting, for covering expenditure for social sphere, and the same time we have a lot of conditions from the European Union, for example, to rebuild our system, for example, to rebuild, to make more competitive railway transport sphere, to change different standards for being in the same fields with our partners. And in this case, I'd say that they are changing slowly, because they couldn't understand how Russia, their former partner, could invade Ukraine, and could have so crucial and so inhuman war against Ukraine. And now they have understood, most of them have understood, because many representatives from these countries have visited Ukraine many times and could see it. For example, many our friends from United States visited it and were under shelling in capital of Ukraine, in Kyiv, which is being shelled every day, every night. Starts from air alert, and they are shelling during the night. And it's type of building treating, and our European partners mostly have understood it and are trying to change their opinion. But Russia has many political envoys inside Russia's inside the European Union's country. Many different countries are focusing on democracy, and democracy forecasts having different opinion, and one from this opinion is providing cooperation with the Russia Federation, and exactly Russia is spending a lot of money for providing this political parties and political forces in different parliaments. And because of it, very often it can appear that parliament from the country has opposite opinion. First of all, I have said that Hungary, for example, was blocking support for Ukraine more than half a year, and then half a year they couldn't approve this money for Ukraine, and exactly Ukraine is allocating 70% of our budget for military sphere, and it's all our budget a little bit bigger, for which can include European Union countries' support, but money which are being taken for Ukraine's budget, 99% is allocated for military forces, for military forces, for National Guard, for security service, for border officials service, etc. And all this money are focusing on it without expenditures for military support. Only partly we have from our budget, and big part of ammunition we have from different programs. First of all, from the program Pearl, which is approved by NATO bloc, and which is building cooperation with United States. And part of this program is having a weapon from United States. United States industry is loading orders for Ukrainian forces. First of all, in the sphere of air defense and high sophisticated technology. And now we can see that last news that United States military forces has joined to Ukraine to cooperate in the sphere of using drone at the battlefield, because it's technology, and Ukraine has demonstrated how it works, and it helped to defend Middle East countries who addressed to Ukraine, and military base United States which were defending together in cooperation with Ukrainian forces. And now we are again becoming more closer, and we understand that we can survive only together, because Russia and China and Iran without serious defeat will not stop. They will continue up to the moment they will or collapse, or will have casualties at the battlefield. It's the only way, because you have seen many times that attempt to establish any negotiations with the Russian Federation have failed, because they are not interested in any negotiations. They are interested in domination, and they don't care for expenditures, and they don't care for any casualties at the battlefield. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we're down to the next 3 minutes, but I want to ask this question. We could probably deal with this in the next segment that we will have when we meet again. Now, China is making it absolutely clear they will take Taiwan one way or the other. Should it come? And by the way, United States have a lot of investments in Taiwan. Should United States get involved in a China-Taiwan war, how do you think or perceive assistance of military sales of equipment and so forth coming to Ukraine? How do you see that affecting Ukraine's war as this war prolongs? And I'm just asking that question to plan ahead, to stay ahead. We're down to the last 2 minutes, so we may not get time to discuss it now, but certainly we would in the next segment that we have.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you the final words down to the last minute.
I can say that now Ukraine is involved in new technologies of waging war, and Ukraine with the Western countries and with the United States and European Union. Ukraine is ready to cooperate further, to help, to share the experience with the country which are defending from the countries, autocratic countries who's attacking developed and democratic countries. And this way Ukraine will help, will